Welcome into Rounding the Bases.
Round the bases. Everybody knows Joe Goldberg. It's around the bases. Everybody knows Joe Goldberg.
Hey everybody, welcome into another episode of Rounding the Bases presented by Community America Credit Union, invested in you. I've got a great one for you today. It is a repeat guest. I don't do a lot of those, but with this one, there'll be more repeats as well. It has to happen. I'll put it that way. Quick shout out to my friends at Chief of Staff Kansas City. If you are in the hunt for a job, looking for a resource, looking to hire someone, whatever it is, in Kansas City or around the country, check them out. I partner with them on a lot of stuff because we believe in the same things: good culture, great people. Chief of Staff KC.com, making connections that matter. My guest today is a connection I've had since 2008. I always like to say that my first year in Kansas City was 2008. The first draft pick that I experienced was my guest today, Eric Hosmer. So I saw Eric Hosmer from the beginning grow up from an 18-year-old that was drafted to a big leaguer, to an all-star, to a world champion, to eventually post-baseball. I don't even know if he's officially retired yet or not. I'll ask him that. And husband, father, whatever it is. I mean, I suppose he could go suit up today and play, but I don't think that is happening. I am joined back on the podcast by now. He's a media guy now, whatever that means. He joined the dark side. Haas, what's up?
Not official. I'm not wearing makeup, so I'm not officially on the dark side yet, Joel. Once I get the makeup going and the suit, then I'm officially all in on the dark side.
That's right. You can pull off whatever you want. It could be a hat. It could be a suit. You don't need any makeup. Come on. But, and you look like you could still get out there and maybe come in for a pinch hit here and there. But you're in that post-baseball world, so to speak, yet I don't think you could ever get away from it. You could if you wanted to, but the game pulls us all, right? I mean, whatever that is, not everybody stays in it forever. Not everybody's going to go into coaching or scouting or media, but it feels like there's just something unique about that game you've had your whole life, right? I mean, you can't fully get away from it, can you?
No, you definitely can't fully get away from it. And I can definitely suit up and get you 2 knocks today, Joel. I just don't know how I'm going to bounce back and recover the next day. I wanted to get that clear first and foremost, but you can't ever get away from it. You tried to, especially when I first got done right after May of 23, when I got released from the Cubs. I mean, I tried to get away from it for a good month, 2 months, not watch, not pay attention. But at the end of the day, it really is. It consumes me. It's what I love. It's not who I am, but I love following it. I love looking and the scores. And at the end of the day, you want to give back to the game and you want to leave it a better place than what you found it. So that's kind of what I've always believed in.
Yeah, I told you one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on today was just to talk about change, because I think it's a great topic for anybody. I mean, look at the pandemic and how that changed the world. So anybody that's listening right now, but even if there wasn't a pandemic, as you and I are recording this today, and I don't know what'll happen between now and when this is released, but as you and I are talking today, Rich Hill, who was a former teammate of yours, is going to officially be called up and join his 14th big league team and make a start for the Kansas City Royals. By the time people hear this, we have no idea what will have happened. He could have dominated. It could have just lasted a couple of outs. I don't know. I have no clue. Other than the fact that a 45-year-old that is in phenomenal shape is going to start a game against the team that he debuted with back in 2005. That in itself is fascinating to me. But really, what really fascinates me is that the game looks nothing like it did when he debuted in 2005. I don't think the game looks anything like it did when you debuted in 2011. That's the world. Life changes, right? I mean, there are things that just don't exist anymore, or things that exist now that never were on the radar before. How different is the game today than when you made your debut in May of 2011?
Well, it's certainly different as far as what surrounds the game, right? I mean, I just got done reading Bill Belichick's book, and the first chapter is the big game. And he talks about the Super Bowl, how it's just a game, right? It's the same game they've been playing, but everything around the big game is so different. So for me, it's everything around the game that is different. And the language, the way that they talk about the game now is what's changed. And for me, coming up in 2011 2008, first of all, you went right to the big leagues. I'm sure you told me this, but I forgot that we came in the organization the same year. Must be nice to just go right to the big leagues, Joel. But anyways,
Hey, wait,
the
hold on.
game is so
Let's at least make it clear that I had all my stops in the minor leagues along the way, and so in 2008, you know,
you were a big free agent.
yeah, I came over. I demanded a trade. I demanded a trade from St. Louis. And
hey, it was your
so
relationship with Pujols, man. You asked him about the business advice. I saw that video. That was awesome. That's what it was.
Right. That was a huge piece for me, Albert Pujols, in many ways. But no, I knew it was a better opportunity for me. But I went from being a bench guy to an everyday guy. So I found the role that I wanted, minus the big signing bonus that some 18-year-olds get getting out of high school. But you deserved every bit of it, and you earned every bit of it as well. Okay, go on. Sorry, 2008.
Yeah, so from the game from when I came in, it's the same game in my opinion, but just everything surrounding the game and how you prepare, the language, how people talk about the game is what's different. And even now, from 2023, 22, my last years in the big leagues, the young player that comes up, the way they speak about the game, their language of baseball is different. So a guy that really helped me was Jake Cronenworth out in San Diego, because I got really close with him during COVID, like you said, real weird times. So we go to the stadium. They're only allowing 4 people at a time to work out. And Cronenworth was in my workout group. So we became tight. We're doing this every day for 3 months. And he starts, the season starts, and we kind of start talking about our bats, because real quick in baseball, it's always the pitchers have 2 different arsenals, once against left-handed hitters and once against right-handed hitters. So I always felt like I wanted to connect with the lefties, Moose and I, Cronenworth in San Diego. We always wanted to talk about what we saw from the pitchers, how they're attacking us. And Crony's language of how he was telling me the pitchers were attacking him was so different than anything I knew. And he was just like, yeah, this guy's got some horizontal break or horizontal movement on this, and it's loop move. And I'm like, Jacob, what are you saying right now? Like, I don't understand this language. The ball's cutting. That's what you're telling me. The ball's cutting. So what Jacob helped me with so much is these young players, that's what they came up knowing, learning. That's what they speak. So I knew at that point in time, to connect with these guys on baseball level, I got to adapt. It's one of those adapt or die situations when it comes to baseball life.
See, there's such a good message here, because I think that when we get older, and you were getting older at that point by baseball terms, right? I still always think of you as a young guy, although maybe not anymore, because I'm covering 22-year-olds, right? I'm covering guys that I saw get drafted at 18 years old, that I see breaking into the league at 21 like you did, or 22. But you can stick to what you're doing, but eventually you become a little bit irrelevant. I mean, we all age out of whatever we're doing, but I just think like there's such a danger of saying like, well, I've been around and you haven't, so I know everything. And yes, of course, we have more wisdom. But to me, it seems like you did something there to connect with the younger generation and go to him. And I'm guessing that in you going to him, that built a nice relationship. Not that he didn't trust you already, to say, wait a minute, if he wants to hear what I have to say, then I want to hear what he has to say, right? It kind of goes both ways.
Absolutely. I definitely gave him the floor and the opportunity, because he was a smart guy, smart baseball guy, and he wanted to share his baseball knowledge with me. So we connected like that. And in Kansas City, it was so different, because the group, Moose, Kane, Salvi, all of us, when we came up together, our leadership style was so different. I think before, when we were rookies, it was like when you get called up to the big leagues, you keep your mouth shut. You don't say a word, wait till someone kind of comes up to you, talks to you. And that's kind of what we learned as young players. And in the minor leagues, like when you get up there, that's kind of how you go about your business. And when we got up to the big leagues and we became those veteran leader, present, whatever you want to call it, we felt so comfortable in our positions and our spots that we felt the need, when a young guy came up, to go approach them and let them know, hey, listen, like, this is why you're here. This is the role. This is what you're going to do to help us. Like, buy in, man. If you buy in, you're going to be here and we're all going to be successful. Like, come jump on this train, man. Like, it's heading towards championships right now. We're not stopping. So we kind of went out of our ways to let them know, hey, this is your role. This is what we want you to do. And speak up, ask, learn, ask questions. Let's go. So that was kind of our leadership approach. It was different than the, kind of don't speak until spoken to kind of thing, which obviously wasn't all the way like that, but it's kind of how you sum it up, I guess.
But I mean, I grew up in a generation, and you did too, and you're very old school, being raised by a firefighter tough in the old school way, and a mother who had defected from Cuba. You are more old school than your age, right? So if you're 36, I think now, or something like that, like you
Yep.
still had some of that 50-year-old in you, and I say that with all the respect in the world. But the ability to kind of cross generations, which I think is an important thing. I have to live that way, by the way. Like if I don't need to have a whole lot in common with 22-year-old Jack Caglione or 25-year-old Bobby Witt Jr., but if I can't speak their language and at least connect with them in some way, I'm irrelevant too, right? I mean, that's how you stay a part of this. But it's so easy to say, like, yeah, but this is the way we did it, and this is the way that I was taught, and all you're going to do is get a blank stare back at you, right? It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It's just you're speaking a different language at that point. I think that's probably the best way to say it.
Yeah, and that's what I would tell a lot of the older coaches as well. And it's not that the player views the game this way and they think that's the right way to play the game. It's just how they learn the game, and that's their language, is what I would call it. So it's something that you have to adapt to if you want to stay in this game. And I say you want to stay in this game, but if you want to feel that connection with the player and you really want to connect on a baseball level and talk the game with them. And I think at the end of the day, when with guys like yourself, when you've earned the trust of players, that Salvi's been there for X amount of years. And in baseball, we all know there's no hiding anything. You're there 8 months out of the year. You're there in spring training a month. You're there in the playoffs a month, not only at the stadium and the bus and the hotels. So like there's no hiding anything. So the reputation you earn is through time and consistency and respect and trust. So now it's almost like this big collaboration of you when you speak to players like Cags or Witt, Bobby Witt, you're using them, not using them, but you're learning from them this different language, and you're using that language to compare it to a time to when maybe you were talking to me or Albert, times from your career early on, and you're realizing, man, this is the same fundamentals, same simple game, but just the language and everything around it is a little different, the terminology.
Yeah, I was talking the other day with your uncle, the legendary Uncle Joey, and he was
that's his name, just Uncle Joey,
Uncle
not
Joey.
Joey Somong, Uncle Joey.
I mean, and I think that's the way he would like it too, right? So, but I think that Uncle Joey, he was telling me a story about something along the lines of you talking about all the great players that you had played with in the minor leagues that never made it, and it just got me thinking that there are so many good guys out there that had the talent that never got here, and so much of this game is about managing failure. And I was telling him a story about Salvador Perez and a fun exchange I had with Salvi last year after he went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And it's like I was trying to kind of avoid him, and he was just seeking out fun conversation. Like, what's the big deal? We get to do this again tomorrow. And it was like, how many guys go back to their room after a bad night and just wear it? And I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm saying that along with the incredible Hall of Fame ability, he has something upstairs that enables him to live that Hall of Fame career. That is it possible that there are a lot of guys that have similar abilities that could never manage the pressure? Pressure is not even the right way to put it, the failures of this game. And I wonder how many of them are out there and how hard that is. I mean, I always say baseball is like life, other than you probably should be successful more than 30% of the time to be good in your business. But what I tell people all the time is if you can manage the failure the way the best baseball players do in your life, you're going to be just fine. How important is that?
It is so important, man. And Gerard Dyson, right, one of our greatest friends, best friends, brother, family, all that, he used to say, man, me and that mirror in the hotel room would have some deep conversations, right? Because you're going in there and you're like, we got Sale, we got Lirion, we got all the Verlander. How am I going to get hits these next days? Like, I need to figure this out and survive. But for me personally, Joel, why I always say, like, I'm so lucky to come up with guys like that in the Royals organization, even throughout the minor leagues, because I'm a guy that, like, I work so much better in groups, like even trying to stay in shape and work out. Like, I need to find 4 or 5 guys, meet up in the morning, and we're doing this group workout. That was always how I worked best. So when I handled, that grind of a minor league season And it felt like I was going with that grind or taking that grind on with Moose, with Salvi, and we were taking it on together. That really helped me get through those tough times. I'll never forget in San Diego my first year. And I think, obviously there was other reasons. My first year was very bad production on the field. But a lot of that I truly believe was because I was trying to take these battles of the season on myself. And I'll never forget there was one game. I mean, it's all over the internet. It's in Houston, and Bregman hits a pop up, and I'm playing, way towards second base. AJ Ellis, the catcher, and I. It's my ball. Kind of look at each other. I run in, overrun the pop up. Houston walks off. They win the game. We come in there after, and we're in the food room. I do my media. I go take a shower. I go to get food, and I'm going in there. And as soon as I walk in that food room there in Houston, the room goes silent. And it's like, man, these guys, it's respect thing. Like, they don't want to talk in front of me. They think I'm feeling pretty bad about myself, which I am. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, this is so different, man. Like, I was even telling the guys the next day, like, guys, I've lost plenty of games in the big leagues before. Like, I need you to loosen up a little bit. Like, someone can talk to me here. Because when I think back to my days in Kansas City, there was a time in New York, we were playing the Yankees, and Salvador, literally there was a guy stealing third, and Salvi threw this ball to left field. Like, it almost went over the left field fence. And we did a mound visit after that, and we literally all were laughing at Salvi, and he was laughing at himself on how he just threw that ball and tried to throw the guy out at third. So point being is Salvi was able to laugh that off, shake it off that next inning, or at least I think so. And boom, like, that's how I operated the best mentally. So I think certain guys, man, they've had the talent, but there's situations in the minor leagues, and maybe they didn't have that group to take those mental battles on with, where that's where I think that maybe was the next piece that some of these guys needed. But I know for me personally, like, that stuff, I needed that group of guys to really bond with, and I needed that team feel.
I guess it's different for everybody, but the ultimate message is that you've got to face that failure and laugh it off, so to speak, right? Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, but not avoid it. And we all do that, right? I mean, whether it's you and your own failure or somebody else's, it's like you're dancing around it. So what are you doing? You're tiptoeing around everything.
Yes. But at the end of the day, like you said, you're all going through it, like the mirror conversation. You laugh and joke, but at the end of the day, you get back to your room and it's one-on-one, the man in the mirror. You're like, I need to figure this out. Like, I need to get it going. But when you, the next day, are able to get on the bus, flush it out, you're seeing your boys in the clubhouse, flush everything out, you're preparing, you've moved on. I think that's a big difference, rather than, if you don't have that bond and you're not able to flush it out and you're kind of not conversating, you're not having fun, like, maybe you're still wearing on you a little bit. It takes you into that next game. So that's just kind of what I've felt like I've learned throughout my experience with it.
So, I mean, really, it gets down to everything that I always talk about. I always tell people I'm not in the baseball business. I'm in the people business. If you have that surrounding and that respect and that trust with the people in your inner circle, it becomes a lot easier to handle that, even if it means you're still having that conversation in the mirror, which sucks, of course, right? But
yeah,
I mean, like, it doesn't. I'm not suggesting in any way that Salvador Perez doesn't have bad moments. I hear a few words that always seem to come out in English when he's coming back after a bad at bat, not in Spanish too. But to me, it seems like he has like that moment and then it's gone, at least from a perception standpoint. Yeah. Like, he has the ability to turn that page quickly.
Salvi just has so much pure love for the game. You know what I mean? And I think that has never gotten interfered with the business side of the game. And I say this with all due respect, obviously, but I feel like Salvi, he signed a couple extensions early on in his career to the point where it was like, I don't care about this business side. I just love this game so much, and just let me know that I'm playing this game the rest of my life. And I think a lot of players, I'm one included, like, you get to a certain point of your career and you understand what the market is, and your agent's telling you, hey, you can do this, you can make this, and you're seeing other guys make money and do this, and you're like, man, I feel like I'm producing a little more than that. So, like, that can get in the way a little bit. And I truly believe that the way I admire it, the way that Salvi has handled all these situations, it's like, man, I don't care, dude. Like, just sign the contract and let me know that I'm doing this the rest of my life, because I truly love this game. And I think you can see that watching him play.
I think one of the things that's going to making you so good with all the media that you're doing. And I think, and I've told you this, I think you could do anything on TV. We had you with us at Yankee Stadium. I expect to have you back doing more as well. And of course, I think, well, you know this, I know this, that the chemistry that you and I have always had was there from day one. And so that's what makes these conversations easy. It makes what if we're texting, you know, any of that type of stuff is just normal, great, fun stuff. But there's, to me, one of the reasons why you were a natural right away in front of a camera is, yes, the personality, but when you can marry the personality with the knowledge, with the ability to improvise, the ability to adapt to the moment, like that to me is, I don't know. To me, it feels like being in the batter's box, right? I mean, you've got to adjust to the moment by moment, the situation, and it's never going to be exactly what you think it is. Every now and then you get lucky and it is, right? But more times than not, it's going to be some type of,
no doubt,
so to speak, right?
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's I mean, like you said, there's certain, you can feel how you feel before the game, whatever, and as soon as the game goes, it's like boom, you feel like you're in it. And I think same way on the camera, man. Like you see you're on TV and that's happening, and you boom, you click into that mode, or you lock it in. You know what I mean? And I think at the end of the day, too, it's a maturation process of talking to the camera. And I feel like sometimes a lot of players forget, because maybe they have like a one-on-one relationship with who they're talking to, and then there's a camera. And I think sometimes they feel that they're talking to that person instead of talking to all the fans. So I think that was an adjustment first that I had to get over. And then at the end of the day, like, again, just coming up through the Royals, I've always felt that trust. I've always felt that, you know, everybody was doing their job to the best of their abilities to just help and give knowledge to the fans. It wasn't like you were digging to try and get some information or trying to do some stuff that, you know, was out of line. So maybe it was just a comfort thing. I don't know, but you definitely, when the light goes on, you feel like, all right, it's game time. Let's go.
Yeah. And at least for me, and I don't know what it's like to be in the box facing 100, but followed by the 89-mile-an-hour split, right? I don't know what any of that's like. I just know that when I get in front of the television camera, whether it's going well or whether it's going poorly, whether I'm distracted or not, it's almost a little bit of a blackout experience where I'm not saying I don't hear stuff, but I'm in my own world, if that makes sense. And I'm wondering if there's any bit of that when you're out on the field. I mean, I know everybody's different, right? Some guys are totally locked in. Some guys need to be loose. But is there that tunnel vision, or is there that moment that takes you somewhere?
Yeah, for me personally, I think just my little experience of doing television or doing podcasts, a lot of it matters so much of who you're doing it with. Because I feel like if I'm, you know, compatible with the person I'm doing it with, it's a flow, it's a conversation, it's natural, and that's how you want to make it feel. If you don't feel like that, then I catch myself at times trying to think of what I'm going to say next, and it takes me out of the conversation, and I get thrown off a little bit. And when I go back and rewatch it, it's like, okay, I can tell that was a little forced, or it was just different. But let me ask you this, Joel. One thing that I've not struggled with, but I think it's something that's a lot different, and it's an adjustment. But like for me personally, I needed to know results, and the results where I was either 2 for 4, 0 for 4, 4 for 4. We either won, lost. Like with you and your profession, how do you know if you win or lose that day? And like, how have you learned to know if you won or lost? I'm sure that process has been all different throughout your career.
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think a lot of people in the TV industry know that they're going to be measured on ratings. And I'm not saying ratings don't matter for us, but I at least felt that I couldn't control those ratings. Or if I felt like my performance was affecting the ratings in a bad way, then I needed to evaluate. For me, I think it's just always been a feel thing. If it felt good and it came out right, great. If it felt bad or it came out wrong, what I've learned over time, Haas, is that I need to look at the moment and say, okay, could I prepare better? Did I do something wrong? Did I sabotage myself? Did I look? I mean, you know this as well as I do, that in the course of 162 games, you're not going to be at your best every single day. And that's not just a physical thing. That could be a mental thing. So, okay, I'll give you this example. We come out of the All-Star break, and our first pregame show, I'm prepared. Like there are days, like say a day game, where you just don't have the amount of time to prepare, and you have to trust your instincts a little bit more, and that's a skill in itself. And when you recognize that, then you trust yourself. But if you don't see the moment and understand it, and if you haven't been through it before, then suddenly you're scrambling. But I know that a day game after a night game, I just don't have as much time to talk to people. I just don't have as much time to lay everything out. So, okay, let's go to what that sort of plan B is, or what the, the cheat code to do that, and make sure you're doing everything you need to. But sometimes things just don't work. And I'm prepared. We're coming out of the All-Star break, and right out of the show open, I'm fumbling over my words. I'm not a script guy. I know what I want to say, or I have an idea. And I found throughout the first 5-10 minutes of that show, I was just kind of stumbling on myself. I don't know that anybody else would have noticed it, but I did. And so in that moment, I had to sit there and say, and I didn't know how to do this before, okay, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing anything wrong? Am I having a bad day? Am I just having a little bit of a brain freeze, a slump? You can go into a little bit of slumps, I think, as a broadcaster too. And can I do anything to get myself out of this, or do I need to let it run its course? And I had that conversation with myself in my head over 15, 20 seconds. And I understood that I was prepared. Maybe I was just a little bit rusty. Just be a little bit more aware right now going forward for the rest of the show. So for me, it's more a measure of, if it doesn't feel right, analyze it so that you're at your best. And there are no numbers that can show that. I just know that if it doesn't feel right, or it's not coming out right, then I need to ask myself the question: am I distracted? Am I looking at my phone too much because people are blowing it up, which I have the ability to ignore if I want to? Have I done all my homework and done my preparation? And to get back to your point too, when you're working with people that you trust, and you're working with people that you're comfortable with, and Monty and I have done this since a little bit before you broke into the league. I can go a full day without ever saying a word to Monty, and we're going to be on the same page. Our producer now is the same way. So I want to go back to a point that you made before about being surrounded by the right people. I think that can only bring out the best in you in the best and worst situations, because they can help pick you up and you can lean on them. So I don't know that I fully answered that, other than to say that I just know if it feels right or it doesn't feel right. And if it doesn't feel right, I need to ask myself, is there something different I can do? And if not, very much like I hear from baseball players, if the process was right and I hit the ball hard, but I lined it out to somebody and I did everything I could, the rest is out of my control. But if there's something I could have done better, then I want to know it. Otherwise, I got to stick with what's working.
Yes. Yes, that was a huge, huge deal in my process as far as maturing throughout my career, which it was always results oriented. And that's all I cared about. 2 for 4, getting hits. That's when I'm feeling great. Could have been, lucky hits, whatever. As far as the results were, if I got hits, I was good. If not, it was like, all right, what do we do? How do we fix it? How do we get hits? But then as my career went, it was much more relaxing, I would say, the seasons were, when I was able to just worry about what I can control. And that was my process. If I came to the field and did my process and prepared the way I should prepare, and not only that, take it a step further into the box, into hitting, whatever my plan is for that starting pitcher, I need to stick to that plan throughout all 3 at-bats and not come off that plan. Baseball players call it in between. When you're in between pitches, a fastball or a slider, you're in between your timing. You're late on the fastball, but you're early on no, just get on one pitch, stay on one pitch throughout that whole process, throughout that whole at-bat. So if I was in between, then I'd be upset at myself you did all this preparation, 6 hours worth of work before the game, and when the moment came, you went away from your preparation. So that's kind of how I started to evaluate myself throughout my career in the later years. And, that's the stuff that when I look at the game now, I'm always watching different matchups. I'm watching a lot of the Royals stuff. And that's the stuff that, like, you want to be a part of the game somehow, some way, because you want to give back. And I'm watching young Jack Caglione right now and what he's going through in the big leagues. And it's awesome because he's such a good young player, and the game tests you so many different ways, but the big leagues is a completely different test. So that's where I'm like, man, I just want to tell him and show him what is this test he's doing right now, because the game is something, it's the same game, but what's happening in the preparation and how you need to go about it changes a little bit. And that's where it's like, okay, like a part of me feels like I want to be a part of this game so bad because I want to take on that battle, so to speak, with a guy like Cags, or I want to give him a little cheat code if I can to help him out and see him grow in every which way.
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense. And I guess that gets back to what we were talking about before too. Like there's some things in the game that never change, right? There's some things in life that never change. I mean, to me, that's the importance of the relationships and the people and the mindset and all of that, right? Or as Rich Hill told me the other day, the innocence, the intent, the way you go about your business, that part never changes. It's everything else you talked about before, the language and the technology and all those things.
Correct. When he understands, the language, how to prepare, basically starting pitchers, how are they preparing against you? You need to show them that, you're willing to not do this or you're willing to do this. And then what are your strengths? And let's stick to your strengths and let's not worry about trying to cover the whole entire plate or trying to hit every single pitch. You can stick to your strengths. You can simplify things because at the end of the day, this game, it's so hard at that level that you need to take the preparation, that much more above and beyond or to that next level. So it's going to be fun just to see that grow and see that growth. But at the end of the day, like you say, Joel, there's fundamentals and absolutes that you can never get away from. Like you have to be on time. Your timing has to be there. Everything else will break down. And at the end of the day, when you're in that box, you need to compete. But this stuff that, we're talking about, the preparation, can simplify maybe some of those thoughts that are going on while the compete mode is happening.
I always thought what was interesting too, and it's very much like life, is that everybody is wired different and prepares differently. So to sit there and say like, here are all the tools that we have, go use them, it doesn't work for everybody. But at the same time, I'll hear, like older generations say, oh, it's information overload, it's paralysis by analysis. But some people need that. Like a guy like Chris Bubich, I think would not feel right without all of that stuff. A guy like Michael Walker, who's been around a lot longer, but he's adapted to a lot of that stuff. But look at like one of your best friends in the league of all time, Mike Moustakas. I don't even know the answer to this. I mean, I think I do. I always thought about it. The way that you guys would prepare with video, I'm guessing wasn't exactly the same. I might be wrong, by the way, but I'm saying like you guys both had really great careers. But how different was the way that you got there, or was it not?
No, it was completely different. I mean, we were both left-handed hitters, but Moose was a power guy, pulled the ball. I mean, hit homers. I was more of a gap-to-gap guy, go with the opposite field good, was more of like doubles, then lead into homers. So, I think what we would talk about was a lot of arsenals of pitchers, how they're attacking us, what they have, what it looks like. But as far as like swing mechanics and all that, it was different because Moose's adjustment when he went to Venezuela with Pedro, I think that was in 2014, he wanted to then, hit to the opposite field because he felt like he was just being one-dimensional, just trying to pull fastballs, and it created a lot of holes for the pitcher to just look at a report and say, okay, I can just throw Mike Moustakas away, and he's going to try and pull it, and it's not going to work. So when he went to Venezuela, went to the off-speed, made those adjustments, it then became for the pitcher, it's like, all right, I just don't have this hole outside that I can just pepper, and he's good, and he can get out. I now have to mix up. I have to mix and match. And I think that led to more mistakes, but that led to Moose, maturing that next process or that next part of his game. And, that's what's hard is you get to the big leagues and you have to identify your strengths, your weaknesses. And then what do you do from there? Do you just continue to pile on your strengths? Do you work on your weaknesses? Do you try and just exit them out? Like it's just so much that's going on.
I have an interesting question. Just going back to being in the box and executing your plan and sticking with it. And I understand that there could be temptations to get away from it and you press too much. And I say all the time, like these guys are humans. It's one thing to know it. It's what you need to do this. They already know that, but it's one thing to do it. It's another thing when you're in that moment and 40,000 are screaming and the dude's throwing, 101 and this is going on and that is going on. But one thing I wonder all the time too is what happens when they're not what they were supposed to be? You get into the box and suddenly it's, wait, that wasn't part of the scouting report. but he doesn't throw that pitch to lefties in that count. And now suddenly you're seeing it. So yes, you had a plan. What if the plan changes in the moment and you're right in the box with all the eyes on you and it's not what you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, the plan. So the plan in baseball is it's always going to change. You feel like, right? Like you have your preparation, all the stuff pregame, and that's really why it's important to pay attention that first part of the game, first time through the lineup. Again, I'm looking at all the lefties, and boom, if your plan was this guy's going to be up with the fastball, down with the changeup, and he's a north-south guy, and then all of a sudden Gordo leads off the game and he throws 3 sliders right in a row, then we're like, okay, boys, like I think we got to adapt here. It's not the plan that we prepared for before the game. So boom, that conversation is happening. But that conversation has to be happening throughout the game, throughout the dugout, because you're not just going to continue to stick to that same pregame plan for 9 innings when you're watching the game in front of you and there's clear adjustments that are made. So that's the type of conversations that have to happen in game. But again, relating back to Moose and I just being different hitters, different type of hitters, but that's why it's so important to have that multiple leaders and different kinds of leaders, because look at the team now. It's like if a guy is, Cags to me seems like he's more, low-key guy. Him and Bobby Wick can really hit it off, and that's the type of connection they're going to have. Maybe he's built off information, same way Bobby is. They're that younger generation and all that kind of stuff. And then you got a guy like Mike Kell. Maybe he's just a guy that's like, hey, I'm like Salvi. Like, I just want to see ball, hit ball. I'm not into all this information. Like, you tell me what you're seeing or you tell me what you do. So I think to have multiple leaders and have that ability to identify, hey, I think this guy can connect with this guy a little more. Maybe you should go talk to him.
Yeah, Salvi had something really interesting to say. It's going to back up everything that you just said. He said, I want the younger guys. I think he might have been talking about Caglione. I want them to be standing in the on-deck circle or on the top step, looking at how the pitcher, especially a relief pitcher that just came in, is facing the lefty that comes up before you. So the iPads are great, and it's a great tool, but don't forget to use your eyes. And if he is pitching that lefty in front of you, in Caglione's case, Vinny Pasquantino, you should be looking at every single thing he is doing to Vinny Pasquantino, because there's a good chance that that's what you're going to be getting, and you may not get that on the iPad. It's just a reminder that it's not an anti-technology thing. It is a don't forget, though, that you still have your eyes.
Yes, and then again, I worked best, we worked best, taking that on as a team. We offensively, we would call it a 9 versus 1 approach. Like, we not only are looking at how these guys are attacking our hitters and what they're throwing, we're paying attention, but at the same time, like, we were so united. When we're in the cage, again, I'm knowing what Moose is working on, he's knowing what I'm working on. So at the end of the day, if it's like put us in today's game and today's team, Royals, and I'm Jack Caglione going up there, and everyone's talking about, oh, this chase, and it's like, I don't operate good like that. If you tell me not to chase, that's not going to put me in a good situation. But if I've created a game plan where it's like, okay, after 0 strikes, 1 and 2 strikes, any type of spin that they throw me, I'm laying off. I am not swinging. Even if it's a strike, I don't care. I'm just not going to swing. And you get to that 1 strike count, and all of a sudden, boom, a breaking ball in the dirt happens, and you go to swing and you check swing. There's no better feeling than stepping out of that box, looking in the dugout, and you see every hitter up there that's like, yeah, is that a boy? Small win, stack it up. These guys know what I'm going, my battle, what I'm going through as a hitter, and they're fighting that with me. And to me, there's no better feeling, because then, you get back to the dugout, that chatter is constant chatter, and Salvi's dead on, man. You got to be paying attention during the games. It's one thing to look at a certain spot or to confirm something on the iPad, but you're going to learn the most by watching.
Just to go off on a tangent, because I've written both of those small ball books, and I guess that's become the thing. I'm not going to ask you my small ball questions for the show because we've already done it before, but to me, there's no cooler moment in baseball for me to observe when I'm on the sideline next to the dugout, when I see a guy make a productive out and come back to a hero's welcome in the dugout, because there's nowhere else that's going to show up. There's nothing in a box score if people still read box scores. It might make an article if it led to the key run, but and I don't know, you could tell me this as a player, you statistically just hurt yourself. And if you do that enough, I don't know, it could hurt your wallet at a certain point, I suppose. I mean,
Yeah.
it all is going to add up to give you lesser numbers in the grand scheme of things, which do matter when it comes to contract time. Yet you would think that you just hit a home run with the reception that you get coming back to the dugout. I wonder what that's like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to feel that. You got to let the player, let your teammate, let them know that you appreciate that, because at the end of the day, that's what I think the winning teams, they value that type of stuff. And again, it goes back to that leadership style of when the young guy gets there, hey, this is what you are here to do. Like, we have you here to get on base, to set up these big guys in the lineup, to get on there for Bobby Witt, for Vinny, for Salvi. And when you get on there, we need you to score runs. And if you have a situation where you can set the table up for them, get a guy over to third, put them in a good spot, like, we absolutely need that to happen. And when the guys are giving, daps and rewarding that guy and letting them know, like, giving him validation, you're doing your job, you're doing your role, you're doing great, exactly what we want you to do. That's where, I think you just get that belief. You get the player to continue to buy in. Like you said, it could be digging in their pockets. It is digging in their pockets at the end of the day. But when the organization, when the team, when the coaches, the players, teammates value that stuff, that's the stuff that I really feel like JJ and those guys, they value, they reward those guys based off of. And at the end of the day, if you win, we all saw it in our run. If you win, everybody gets taken care of, and that stuff will take care of itself.
And the reputation follows you. I mean, it may not show up in the stats, but that doesn't mean it can't show up in other ways. And the game, people around the game typically don't lie. Eventually, everybody knows who everybody is, right? I mean, there aren't many secrets.
There's not many secrets. And the playoffs, everything's magnified. 2015, look at after that year. The bullpen does what they do. The Yankees go out and spend hundreds of millions of dollars on their bullpen. Gerard Dyson, Terrence Gore, they come up, get some big stolen bases. Gerard in the wild card game of 14, Gore throughout the whole run. All of a sudden, he gets 2 rings later. Teams are acquiring guys off of speed. I mean, absolutely.
Everybody's got a part, right? I mean, everybody's got a role, and without, I mean, it all matters. It's not all about the superstars. All right, we'll start to wrap things up. We talked a lot about evolution and change. You're seeing it now too. I mean, with some of the stuff that you're doing in media, and I think that there's going to be a lot more coming too. I'm fascinated right now by this world that we live in, because, when I started in TV, the route was to get, for me, the route was to get out of college and work for a local news station, and that's still going on too. But now you got kids coming out of college, and who knows, they might be an influencer on social media. That I look at what you and Moose and Moylan and all those guys were doing, and I know there's other stuff going on as well. Like the ability to create right now. Look at the two of us sitting here on this podcast doing a virtual thing, which is completely normal, and I think it's about that. That's like sort of the standard right now, is just doing something like this. But television's changing. Cable, not everybody even knows what cable television is anymore. The younger generation is not buying cable. They're going to stream it, right? And they're going to watch it on their phones. And when people see stuff that you're doing, or look at what the Kelsey brothers do. I know a lot of people will sit and watch or listen to that show, but where is it being consumed most? It's being consumed in quick little clips, which is where we're at in the world right now too. What have you seen as you've started to dabble into this media world? Because it does not look, I know you weren't studying TV when you broke into the league, but I can promise you it doesn't look anything like it did back when you got in, which is just like everything else we've talked about.
No, it's definitely different look. And at the end of the day, like we talked about in the beginning, it's like, you continue to want to give back to the game that basically gave me everything, and you want to make it a better place than what you found it. But, baseball was always so different. And I remember, as a player, your goal is to, when you're done playing, make yourself enough money that, you don't have to work after. Because the reality of it is, when you look at coaches, when you look at TV guys, what you guys do and your schedule, you guys are, on the road and you're doing the post game show. So it's like your days are almost just as long, if not longer, than, what the players are. So at the end of the day, it's like, man, I'm about to have my 3rd kid in September now. Like, I want that time at home. I want to be with my family, with my kids, and with my wife, of course. But at the same time, I want to be giving back to the game. And now I can do that without being on the road for 9 months out of the year, being able to be right here in my bedroom talking to you virtually, being able to do different things to, continue to connect with fans, Royal fans, fans throughout the game, and just really trying to give the fans my perspective and drop some knowledge, some things that I've learned throughout my, path, throughout my journey, talking with some of these guys. I've had so many, as you know, Joel, like I came into the game, I was, young. I didn't have a family throughout my big league career. So I've had so many fun experiences, whether it's on the field, off the field, and getting to hear some stories from guys that have had some truly great careers and them guys that, have been the best players this league has seen. So I want to give all that stuff back. I want to help the next generation, and to be able to do it like this is certainly an adjustment. And I think now more players that wouldn't have been open to this before are certainly open to it now because, one, it's easy, and number two, you have the ability to leave the game in a better place and just do it from your own house, your own remote.
What's weird is you came up in a generation where if you were caught seeking the camera, you were an attention seeker.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact that guys, players would mock others, maybe not to their face, I don't know, if they just seem to mysteriously pop up in the background of a TV shot all the time. Like, oh, look at who's looking for extra attention. I'm right on that, right? Right?
100%. I remember the funny interactions that Salvi would have with Kane. And if they were to do that nowadays, they'd be getting all kinds of TikTok deals or whatnot.
Right.
And everybody loved it. And don't get me wrong, but it was almost at the same time, is this going to be acceptable? Kind of, that's what you were wondering, right?
You towed the line of what can I get away with? What can I do? And the simple, easy thing to do was to err on the side of, you know what, I'm not going to do this. Point being, I had to work really hard to get guys to do stuff. And it's not that I didn't get along with them and that they weren't awesome. It was safer not to do it because if you did it, you knew that the guys might give you some grief of, oh, look at who wants extra attention. Now, the quietest guys are doing stuff because they understand it's about their brand. I think it's a good thing because it's showing more personality, and the game has decided we don't have to do it. The game, meaning the players, we don't have to do it the way they did it before, that it is about the brand. Haas, I'm telling you, I've never seen so many players after a game on the road, wherever we're at, come out after, they've showered, or not even after they've showered, after they've done media or maybe gotten some food. They're still in their uniform 15, 20 minutes after the game, and they're coming onto the field to take pictures with their family for Instagram and all of these type of things. It's expected. It's not a chore. I don't think it's expected from them, from their wives, from their families. They want to chronicle being at Wrigley Field. They want to chronicle going to all these places. They want to share it with everybody else. And then when I say, hey, you want to go and do something fun, like whatever, go check this. Hey, you want to go to the Pike Place Fish Market and do? Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to do that. The focus is still on the game, but that to me has been really interesting. Everybody wants to do stuff now.
Yeah, I think people understand, obviously the mental side of it is have taken over a lot. I've always said my first couple of years, weightlifting was a big thing. Guys brought that from the off season to in season. Now the mental grind is a huge thing. Guys have mental skills coaches, performance process coaches, that whole thing. And I think at the end of the day, we're realizing it's okay to do both. It's okay to have some fun before the game. And then if you get there at 3, 4 o'clock versus 1, 2 o'clock, that's still enough time to not have fun anymore and lock in on the game, so to speak. But I just feel like it is different. I know that social media itself is different. It's almost like, if you go a birthday of your wife's and forget to post on social media, it's almost like people are going to think you have problems now and something's happening, because I guess that's just a secret language within it. And that is something to adjust and adapt to. But I think you see some of the best managers, some of the best people in business, some of the best people in the game, baseball, they adapt. Look at Terry Francona. This guy's been in the game for so long. And we see a clip the other day of Ellie De La Cruz messing with his glasses during a mound visit. Even Buck Showalter, guys that would not have been accepted years ago. They've adjusted to what the game, to what society is now asking, or is now, the kids or the young guys are bringing up. So you got to adapt. And I think those are some good examples of guys doing that.
All right. We'll start to wrap it up here. What do you miss most about the game? I'm assuming it's the guys.
Oh man, just victory beers, man. There is no better feeling than winning a big league ball game, having a beer, just being in my sliding shorts, seeing Joel walk in there, giving you a fist pump. You know what I mean? That's just preparing. Again, we would get there at 1 o'clock every single day to prepare for a 7 o'clock game, and doing all that preparation, having the meetings, doing the BP, and winning that game. There's no better feeling than celebrating that with the boys in the clubhouse there.
You can't replicate that, right?
Nah, you can't. I mean, you really can't. That's the best.
What about, I think I've heard different versions of this. I think there's a fairly big 2015 team group chat. I don't know how many guys are on that, but I'm not looking for a whole lot of details, but unless you have some to give, but is there a name for that chat, and like how many guys are who's involved in that? Like how frequent? I mean, I know it's not like dedicated to memories of 2015. I think it's probably more just like the friendships that have remained in place.
Yes. I don't know if it's the best name. It's called Champ Shit. That's the name of the group chat. And it's a good 12, 13 guys in there. And we're always seeing stuff from the game now, kind of commenting on it. It's usually a funny video from Danny Duffy. That's usually the one that gets us going every now and then. And then you got Kane replying to the video like, Duffy, you are crazy, man. And that's the interaction. But those guys, this past May, man, it was so fun between Moose, Gordo retiring, being in the Hall of Fame, the reunion. I mean, I was there every weekend in May, and it was a blast.
I know you were.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were.
It was great.
That stuff will never ever go away. All right, what's next? I mean, I'm not asking for specifics, but it's very obvious that you want to stay in this game, but at the same time, I can't believe I never thought I'd say this. Not that I didn't think you'd be a great dad, because I knew you would be, but you're about to have 3 kids, dude.
3 kids, man. 3 kids. So I definitely want to stay involved in the game and continue to do stuff, maybe like this remotely, maybe get out there every now and then, do some stuff. But I definitely want to see the kids grow, be there for them. Got baby number 3 coming in September. It's another little girl. So it's me and Jack and 2 little girls, Casey. So 3 total kids. So I want to be there for them. But at the same time, I feel like Dayton would always tell us, your kids need to go out and see you work. So I definitely feel like I'm ready to get back out there, get ready to work. And I want to be involved somehow, some way, man. And ultimately, I definitely want to have a win or a loss at the end of the day again. But up until that point, it's fun to cover the game like this. It's fun to get out there every now and then and do it. So I'm open to whatever.
Yeah, and whatever it is, I know that you'll do really well. I'm just still trying to think about you as the girl dad, which you already have experienced now, but now it's gonna be times 2. Who's spoiling your girls more, you or Casey?
Oh, dude, I'm the spoiler. I am the spoiler, and she's the enforcer. We were out the other day, and I was flipping Jack little wiffle balls. So I'm over there, and he's swinging, and I'm like, yeah, there you go. And she's like, Jack, wait, no, load up your hands or step with this foot and do this. And I'm like, you're the monster. I go, you're the monster, not me. It's you. And we just started laughing because she is the competitive monster, and I'm just the yes man.
I don't know that I ever fully saw this coming. That husband, father, I could have seen, but like this is just a different side of you, which I love too. And I know it's old Haas and new Haas all mixed in, right? It's the old school Haas and the Haas that was connecting with Jake Cronenworth to adapt to the new times. But
got some salt in here now, Joel. You see the salt?
I know. You can do something about that if you want to. Clearly,
I'm trying to hold on as long as I can.
You can do whatever you want. Well, it's I always love these conversations, and I think that obviously it's fun, but hopefully people learn from them too, and it's a little bit of a different perspective. I'll wrap it up with this. I mean, there's nothing better than the game of baseball, and I say this quote a lot, came from Buck O'Neill. Nothing better than baseball. It teaches all the lessons, and that's it, right? I mean, like you had that long career, and there's no replicating it yet. There's so many moments that I know that have helped shape you to what you are, right? I mean, there's no sport with all the failure and the daily grind like baseball. I don't know anything like it.
No, and like you said, it teaches you and it gets you to grow up fast. It prepares you for life outside of baseball whenever that time comes, because it's been 2 years now for me outside of baseball, life after baseball. And yeah, I can definitely validate that baseball will get you through those moments and get you prepared for those life lessons.
All right, Haas, we will do this again via podcast, via television. We're gonna try to see if we can get you back on our airwaves in Boston, since you're out east, and I know we had you on at Yankee Stadium and put you to work a little bit. So we'll work on that. And as always, I appreciate everything.
Appreciate it. Let's do it, Joel. You know some people, man. Make some phone calls.
Hey, come on. You know some people too. Between the two of us, we'll get it done.
No doubt.
It's around the bases. Everybody knows Joe Goldberg.